Hello and welcome to this episode of Netcore's Holiday Marketing Masterclass. Today we have an excellent session in store for you on a topic that is very hot for retail and e-commerce marketers across the globe. We're joined by two experts on the subject, Surya Kunju and Logan Vadivelu. Surya at Google Cloud leads the retail and media customer experience transformation initiatives, harnessing the power of generative AI and Google Cloud's customer data platforms to innovate in retail and the CPG sectors. Surya, thanks for joining us here today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
And we're joined by Logan Vadivelu, Global Head of Cross-Industry Solutions at Google, where he leads solution strategy, development, and go-to-market for differentiated solutions using Google Cloud, AI, Gen AI, and data analytics for enabling customers to digitally transform their businesses. Thank you, Logan, for joining us today.
Great to be on this call, and thanks for having me.
This is going to be an excellent conversation. And again, a lot of us on the call today have been hearing a lot about AI and generative AI. And maybe we kick it off today with just a little bit of context about how Gen AI is currently being used in retail marketing specifically. Surya, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, very, very happy to. And thank you for that question. I think that is the question, right? So I feel Gen AI, generative AI is truly shaking up the retail marketing landscape, right? And I'm very thrilled to be here to share some of the most exciting ways it is being used. First off, I feel that it's all about creating those personalized customer experiences that we all as humans crave, right? And that's where Gen AI helps retailers truly craft, the right kind of product recommendations, email content, and even now, website layouts that are actually tailored to each individual shopper. Then there is this whole 24/7 support and guidance that LLM-powered chatbots and virtual assistants provide, right? They answer questions, they offer suggestions, they really create a smooth shopping journey, even when your human team is actually off the clock. And by the way, they also, help with upsell and cross sell. So, while you're providing customer experience, you're also making a lot of additional revenue. But we also we should not forget, right? That these things have been there in the past. But in the past, it required a lot of human intervention, right? So if you think of chatbots, it required to build dictionaries, for example, right, for individual chatbots, which is not needed anymore. Want the agent to speak in Spanish? No problem. In French? No problem, right? It's that easy. And lastly, from a marketing perspective, because I kind of lead that and I love that area, it has been just amazing, right? Marketing was the first, line of business who went into adapting the Gen AI use cases. Think of creating attention grabbing like ad copy, right? Like the headlines and product descriptions and even visuals, right? This allows marketers to be freed up from their time, and they can actually go ahead and focus on more strategy kind of work and optimizing campaigns. So to be honest, I feel that we are still scratching the surface. I mean, I know it has been a while, but I still feel that there's a lot which Gen AI can offer in the world of retail. So back to you.
Yeah, no, makes very good sense. And as you say, we're living in a dynamic time when we're talking about Gen AI. Are there any big kind of trends or winds blowing that we should be aware of, and especially kind of considering the year we're in, getting ready for the holidays?
Yeah, I mean, when you think of the holidays, right? I mean, let's put all of ourselves in and look at ourselves, right? We all get busy, right? People get busy, and that just means that the human attention spans are shorter. And that's why it's even more important to provide an extremely engaging shopping experience to the customers, and that is the key, right, when it comes to the holiday season. So when you keep that in mind, there are different kind of Gen AI trends which I feel that retailers need to keep in their radar. Again, personalization, but not just like normal personalization, real-time personalization, right? It's just not enough to create like customer segments, the traditional way of doing things anymore. And this is where Gen AI can actually allow you to hyper personalize. So the website content could be dynamic based on the browsing behavior, the emails, if you're sending out different kind of offers, it could be tailored to the individual preferences. All of this needs to happen in real time. Think of the content creation. Again, when you think of holidays, it demands a massive amount of content, right? From social media posts to different types of social media as well, to different types of email campaigns, etc. And this is where Gen AI can truly help, right? Because it could create these at scale without sacrificing the quality. Beyond marketing, we think of the issues that we have had in the past when it comes to holiday season, which is around demand planning, right? So this is where predictive analytics and traditional AI could also help with smarter inventory. But now, large language models are also helping in that regard, right? So I don't know if you guys have heard of Google's Times FM, which is a large language model on demand forecasting or forecasting, which was released. That could be of immense help when it comes to this kind of forecasting and demand sensing use cases. And last but not the least, while we are all rushing to do all of these interesting things, we should not ignore the ethical aspect of it and responsible aspect of it. So that's where responsible AI and retailers, that's why need to be very, very transparent about their AI practices and ensure that uh, people would love to get value and people would love to have the data exchange as long as they're aware that there's a reasoning behind it. And I think all of us are aware and want very personalized kind of advertising to us or personalized experiences, and we are okay to share data as long as we know that we are doing this. So I mean, those are some of the trends, which I feel are very, very important from a shopping, from a holiday perspective.
Yep. Yep. No, makes very good sense. And being aware of that value exchange in kind of when dealing with customer data is absolutely critical. There are a lot of kind of forward-looking applications for Gen AI and a lot of promise on the horizon. There's also a lot of rubber's really hitting the roads in some areas, and we're really driving value today in some key areas. Logan, maybe you can tell us a little bit about the role of AI in catalog enrichment and what that means.
Amazing question, Nick. That's been a challenge for most retailers. For the benefit of the audience, let's define catalog enrichment. It's a process of improving kind of quality, accuracy, and completeness of product information in a catalog. And traditionally, it's been done with a lot of human involvement. And this is where generative AI bringing in kind of transformative change in how catalog data is maintained. So in terms of significance, I want us to look through the lens of first marketing and then business impact. From a marketing perspective, it empowers marketing teams to execute effective personalized campaigns, targeted ads, and promotions. And it helps to increase the ROI and return on ad spend. And as you know, marketing teams struggle with limited budget these days. So applying generative AI helps improve that aspect as well. And overall, it improves the brand's image, awareness, and reputation. Now, on the business impact side, most digital channels today struggle to attract customers to their channels, and they suffer from lower traffic and high site abandonment rate due to kind of poor product information. Think of product detail page in the retail context. And then finally, the enriched product data not only drives higher customer engagement on these channels, but increases customer satisfaction, loyalty, and customer lifetime value. So the benefits are both the internally enabling and empowering the teams, but also ultimately improving customer experience to drive business impact.
Yeah, no, makes very good sense. And how about specifically product discovery and personalization? How does that enriched product data help drive better discovery and
Yeah, I'm
personalization?
smiling again. It's a very, very relevant and top of the mind questions for not just retailers, any businesses selling online. These days I say every business is retail because everyone is selling their products and services online. Um, we all know that today's consumers are highly selective, right? Um, we all do that. We all research online, on social media, and marketplaces before we make purchases online or even in store, right? And so that's very important where the product information, especially enriched product information, can improve product discoverability. Let me be more specific. Personalized search, recommendations, and even help improve the search engine optimization. And also kind of thinking beyond discovery, it think about the enriched product data such as product description, attributes, and images like pictures, including videos. They can help improve the customer experience along the entire shopping journey. And finally, because of that engagement, it's going to increase the conversion rate and also average order value. Again, two of the major metrics that everyone selling online cares about. Another important thing is returns, right? One of the challenge with online sales is this potentially high returns, and enriched product data can lower the returns. How? Well, enriched product data enables buyers to make their purchasing decision in a more well-informed and high confidence manner. And this is possible because of the enriched data, which is more accurate, relevant, and detailed data. So armed with this information, you are able to improve the discoverability. And especially think about these days, Gen Zs and millennials are looking for discovering product through traditional search, also multimodal search like through voice, through chat, and even image-based search. So generative AI enriched product data can enable multimodal search much better than any other technology.
Yep, makes very good sense, and all of that is much more critical now during the holiday season than, or as critical during the holiday season, if not more so than any time of year, just because of the activity and everything happening. Any other special considerations or ways that enrichment helps drive us through the holidays?
Yeah, I mean the holiday sales, and before pandemic, it used to be once a year, end of the year, but now we see, it's starting as early as September, and some even throughout the year. Brands and retailers spend significantly to kind of promote their merchandise to boost sales during the peak holiday seasons and other events as well. And they drive traffic to the channels, but inaccurate, incomplete product information can fail to convert the traffic to sales, right? And let me give more specific example. Imagine product description. Instead of the dull and boring standard description we see, generative AI can make that description highly relevant to holidays. It could be a holiday theme, or even these days we have, Earth Day sale, right? So that type of occasions, you can use generative AI to make the description highly relevant, to emotionally engage with shoppers, to kind of persuade them in their purchasing decision. As an example, gift items during holidays, right? So you need to have the description that highly resonates and emotionally connects with shoppers. And finally, brands and retailers, they fiercely compete to win the wallet share of consumers, especially during the holiday sales, right? And with the generative AI powered catalog as well as content, you can not only drive higher shopper engagement, but conversion, and then kind of boost the margins during the year's biggest sales events. So the margins are more critical for retailers. So that's where you can see the benefit of generative AI specific to the holiday sales. Nick.
Yep, yep. I love it. Makes very good sense. And another big role we see for Gen AI and around the holidays and maybe throughout the year is just in analyzing customer data and being able to generate insights from customer data. Surya, you have a thought on just how Gen AI, what role it plays in kind of analyzing data and driving those personalized
Yeah,
experiences?
happy to share some thoughts. And I guess most of us who have been working in this area, for some time, I think we have seen um, the advancements that Gen AI can bring to the table, right? So traditionally, personalization was all about broad segments, right? Like, let's say women aged 25 to 34, or or living in this particular area, etc., etc. It was sort of difficult to go at an individual preference level, where we're able to predict, what this specific customer might be interested in next, right? So, and then also, like, once you're able to not only predict but also like tailor the entire shopping experience, just for them. And that's where Gen AI plays an very interesting role. I'll give you a very specific example that I have personally experienced, right, in my professional career. So um, because I have been in the both sides, on the data science side and also on the marketing side. Earlier, when we would create these kind of machine learning models, such as, like, Logan talked about LTV, like lifetime value, and segments and all of these things, right? So let's say you have 100,000 customers, you created 10 different segments out of these customers, and now you want to run very specific marketing campaigns for these ten different segments of customers. By the time it takes the data science team to translate what these segments mean to the marketing team, the time actually of running the campaign might have gone, because it just to identify based on the output of machine learning and the characteristics and features and all of those things into a persona, that decision takes a lot of time, and everybody needs to be on the same page and all of those things, right? Just if you look at that specific use case, I mean, you ask Gen AI to do this for you. You give the output of ML. I'm not saying change the machine learning bit. I'm saying give the output of machine learning to Gen AI and ask it to generate a persona. So, like, think of like those kind of data analysis. It's pretty phenomenal, right? The other use case which I was talking about was, think about, from a marketing perspective, right? You have all of these use cases around Gen AI creating different creatives, different images, different ad copy. But then, if you want to associate that ad copy to a particular audience segment, it gets tricky, especially when you want to do it at scale. And that's another way where you could really leverage Gen AI to truly understand the semantics of the audience, the semantics of the actual group of customers that you've created, and convert that so that it would fit well, with the creative that you have created. So in the end, I feel that that whole process of analyzing what has worked really well in the past, and then based on that analysis, going ahead and micro segmenting, if not at an individual level, which is very difficult, from a production perspective, but at least micro segmenting and creating very different messaging based on that analysis. I think this was almost impossible to do before, because you would always want to do it in a time crunch, right? There's always a back to school season, but then there's not like a yearly back to school season, right? So you have to do it quickly, and you have to do it, in a very optimal fashion. So that's what I see, from a customer data analysis as an example there.
Yeah, no, No, that's amazing, what used to take a very long time now can happen, in an accelerated time frame, driving tremendous value. Can you maybe share an example of this in action, and maybe how you've seen conversion optimization?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, so we have like existing customer who went, very early on the Gen AI kind of bandwagon, right? Which is Carrefour, in Europe, which is a large, really large, like, retailer slash grocery, right? They're in the grocery business, and they created this thing called Marketing Studio. That's the name that they gave, and it's all, out in the public. You can go, like, search it on your favorite search engine, and you'll find the case study there. But, long story short, I think the way I was kind of describing is exactly what they did. So they were able to create multiple campaigns at scale, using Marketing Studio, where they leveraged, at that point, we used to call it's something else called Imagen. Right now it's Gemini, right? So they leveraged that, to create content, which was text as well as creative, but then they did it at scale. They were also able to generate campaign briefs, etc. So, so they used a combination of Google Cloud, Vertex AI, and Gemini, now known as Gemini, which is a large language model, to build an application, on top of Google Cloud, which they termed it as Marketing Studio, which their marketers, across the board, were able to leverage in order to create these amazing, assets that would help them scale, their marketing, and run multiple campaigns much more effectively. So that's an actual use case, and they did it almost a year back now. So, I'm sure, they have made a lot of progress.
Love it. Love it. When we kicked off the conversation talking or mentioning privacy, and just the need, as we're taking these bold new initiatives on, to be really mindful of privacy. Logan, maybe tell us a little bit of how we can balance personalization and privacy, especially during the holidays, when the task is even greater.
Such a great question, Nick. Thanks. Surya mentioned some great points about personalization earlier, so I want to kind of build on that and then kind of blend in the privacy perspective. Retail is detail, as the saying goes, and it involves a lot of data and customers' personal data, which puts a huge responsibility on retailers from an ethical point of view, right? And consumers put privacy on top of their mind, and they also demand hyper-personalized experiences in their pre and post purchase journey. And then, think about these days. No shopping starts and ends on single channel. In fact, a Google study found out that many of these shopping, they starts online. Even those who decided to buy in a store, they start researching online. We all do that. And so brands and retailers, they need to kind of develop a holistic approach and strategy when it comes to balancing how they meet personalization and kind of protect the consumer's privacy. Again, if you think about it, it's not just in one channel in shopping. A lot of customer data is used in marketing initiatives, and several other functions within an organization relies on customer data. So that holistic approach is important, and I advocate kind of adopting a less is more approach when it comes to collecting data, especially what data you are collecting from the consumers, and also be transparent with them in how you intend to use that data. A lot of us opt in, and we place the trust on the brand and retailers, because often you don't find the time to read the entire terms of that, that data collection. So that trust is very, very important. And then, it needs to be a strategy. It cannot be just a technology or implementation, but has to trickle down from a higher level corporate strategy. You know how we handle the trust our consumers place on us, and specifically about holiday sales, Nick. More importantly, the peak season holiday purchase behavior is unique and highly seasonal, and it doesn't represent the general buying behavior of consumers throughout the year. So retailers need to recognize this aspect of holiday sales buying behavior, and use that data appropriately, and then not overgeneralize its applicability. If we do, we are not only wasting our resources, but the return on that is going to be, you know, um, very minimal, if not nothing. So I would advocate, appropriately using the data and sort of having a less is more approach, and that will give them the best value for their effort and investment.
Yep, that's smart. There's so much data out there. Being focused on what you collect and what you use
Yeah,
is
because the current thinking is do more with less, but here I kind of take a different approach. Think about less is more when it comes to collecting data.
I think it's a smart piece of advice for the audience for sure. Um, in terms of kind of wrapping it up a little bit, or looking forward, Surya, how should retailers now be kind of looking at AI when looking at launching their marketing initiatives? What should we be keeping in mind right now? And if retailers who are in the audience aren't doing it now, what should they be doing?
Yeah, it's a good question. Can we pause for a second? Sorry.
Yeah, we can. We
Yeah.
100% can pause.
This Logan, do you have this question on you?
No, I think I marked.
The last, do you have 9 and 10? The last two I have are, what are the ways retailers can use Gen AI in their marketing
Okay.
initiatives? SK. And then how do you see Gen AI? And then for you, Logan, is how do you see
Yeah.
Gen AI evolving in the retail
Surya,
sector
that's
over
what
the next
I
5 years?
Oh, okay. So,
Although I'm happy to switch it up
yeah,
first.
no worries. Yeah, I just want to make sure, so I have three examples which I can give. I think the way you framed it,
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, I think I can give it via three examples. That's what I kind of, worked on. So just wanted to make sure. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Sure, sure, sure. So maybe I should frame it as like, if you were, so Surya, top three things, and examples, are they top three things they should be doing now, or is it top three things, yeah,
Yeah,
to be
I think
thinking
the
about?
question could be, like what are the ways retailers are using Gen AI in their initiative? I think the way you
Okay,
framed it, it requires a very different approach to answer it, right? Like what should
okay,
they be
good.
doing? So that's a bit of a different versus what are they doing?
Yeah, yeah, no.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like it.
yeah.
I'm hearing you. Okay. I like it. I'm with you. Um, Great stuff. So, Surya, what ways are retailers using Gen AI in marketing initiatives right now?
Yeah, happy to provide some of the examples that I'm already seeing. So I'll give you a couple or maybe three examples, right? So number one is Wayfair, and this is not just limited to marketing, right? This is one way or the other, it's going to impact, and you would see how it's going to impact marketing. So for example, Wayfair, they piloted something called as Code Assist, which is part of again Google Cloud's Gen AI platform, where they use the developers, with the code agent, and they were able to set up the environments which were 55% faster than before, right? So this actually allowed them to have 48% increase in the code performance, and 60% of the developers actually reported that they were able to focus on more satisfying work. Now, as we all know, Wayfair is a digital native, has been for the longest time. So I think they just opened up, like a few physical stores as well. But for any digital native, when you are optimizing and freeing up their developer resources, you now have the opportunity to leverage those developer resources in optimizing and making other business functions better. And that's what Wayfair has been doing internally. And I wanted to call out this specific use case because often we all just keep thinking about when it comes to Gen AI, it's all about content and image creation, but it's also about code, right? And if you could really assist there, it helps a lot across the board. Um, Another example is Best Buy. So Best Buy is using Gemini to launch a Gen AI powered virtual assistant. And that specific virtual assistant is for troubleshooting product issues, right? Like, and also rescheduling order deliveries. So think of the Geek Squad subscriptions, right? This particular virtual assistant is able to manage your Geek Squad subscriptions as well, right? And in store where they have their customer service associates are also kind of leveraging this Gen AI tools to better serve customers anywhere they need help. So that's how Best Buy is using. Again, it's all within the context of customer experience. And as we all understand, better customer experience is better marketing, better sales, better revenue, right? So that's that. The last one, when these guys also were at Google Cloud Next, which is the Home Depot, they actually had a booth there. They built an application called Sidekick, and a little bit similar to what Best Buy, the example of Best Buy, but then this was specifically meant for the Home Depot store associate to manage inventory and keep the shelf stocked, and also like use Google Cloud's vision models to help associates prioritize which actions to take, right? So if you think of this, right, all of this kind of ties down to a really good engaging customer experience, all three use cases, right? And in my head, because I kind of when I meet with customers, it's marketing is the topic, but then eventually it becomes how can you really ensure that the experience that our customers are having both online or in store can be made better. And that's what Logan also talked about, the solution that he mentioned. So if you think of these kind of use cases, right, so Gen AI is helping in all, right? So whether it is assisting on code, whether it is kind of adding additional attributes to the tags, whether it is automatically creating descriptions, whether it is creating an application which can solve a lot of the product issues without reaching out. And then lastly, which we don't think that much, but if you go to Home Depot, it's such a big, humongous store, right? So if you ask a question to the associate, it takes them a while also to kind of figure out where it is, right? So I mean, yes, they know it, but what if we could provide, we could help the store associate to be the smartest they could, right? With the help of assistant. Just like we are trying to be our best, we could also help them to be their best, and that's the idea. And truly, it helps the overall customer experience in my understanding.
Yep. No, it makes very good sense. And customer experience is now how retailers are competing, right? I mean, it's the critical component that separates them. That's great stuff. Logan, we hit on a bunch of really cool stuff happening today. How do you see this evolving when we look forward in the retail sector over the next 5 years? What do we see? How do we see the role of Gen AI evolving, and what do you see in the crystal ball?
Interesting question, Nick. You kind of put me on a spot. Given no other technology has evolved as rapidly as generative AI in the recent years, right? And look, no one has a crystal ball to see, how it's going to evolve. But I'm going to share my perspective. Before I do, I want to kind of put some context, Nick, in terms of, the challenges that retail industry has been facing in the recent years. it kind of started with the pandemic era disruption, followed by supply chain chaos and kind of macroeconomic issues that continue to create margin pressure to the industry. So I want to kind of use that margin pressure as a base for looking at four areas where generative AI will continue to evolve, let's say in the next 5 years, to deliver on its potential to help the businesses, particularly the retailers. First is customer experience. I think you mentioned already. That's the focus of every industry now. And using generative AI, and you can improve the pre and post purchase journey across channels with that kind of enriched data, and also using AI agents. That's the trend already, and that's going to become even more critical and crucial. And using AI agents as a kind of shopping assistants to help the journey across channels, and providing sort of a human-like natural conversation. So I use the example, when you walk into a store, you have a seasoned store associate having a conversation with you to help you decide on your purchase. And the AI agents can provide sort of similar experience online. So you have that high touch experience that you get in store, now you can get online. The next area is personalization. Again, we talked about that. It's more about dynamic personalization. I think Surya talked about real time, right? The dynamic personalization of product pages and promotions. So you don't inundate consumers with irrelevant promotions. Imagine how many email promotions are opened. There's a stat that says that's very, very low. But making it more personalized, you have a better chance of the users acting on those promotions, and then making the product pages more relevant and even product descriptions more dynamic and personalized is going to be important for businesses. And third, while the first two more on kind of revenue generation, customer focused, and the next two is more of internally focused, improving organizational efficiency and effectiveness. First is innovative content. It's not a trivial area for businesses these days. And to launch a new promotion or sales event, you need to plan ahead, in weeks. With generative AI, you can kind of remove those inefficiencies and then kind of infuse innovation in creating and then kind of empowering marketing teams to do those programs to result in higher ROI, return on ad spend. And again, I talked about earlier how the marketing budgets are shrinking year by year. So generative AI can help marketing teams with their innovative content. And finally, operational efficiency. Again, removing some of the inefficiencies and adding value and empowering teams in the merchandising functions, supply chain functions to help drive the cost down, and then increase the kind of ease the margin pressure. Let me put it that way. And so these are the four areas I critically see generative AI being adopted by retailers. And because of that adoption, generative AI is going to continue to evolve rapidly. That like becomes a nice flywheel effect. More adoption driving more evolution of generative AI, and then in turn doing that. That's a great question, and I'm sharing this perspective with recognizing that this field is evolving rapidly. So I'm as curious as everyone to see where it goes and how it evolves.
Yep. No, as am I. But as we've hit on today, a lot of opportunity both above the line, just to drive better customer experiences, and below the line, driving efficiencies and efficiencies for marketers, merchandisers, retailers. So A lot of great stuff. Logan, Surya, thank you very much for joining us today. It has been a great conversation, and I sincerely appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nick. It's great joining this call and discussing these topics. It's great having you and Surya join me in this. Really appreciate and looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.